welcome to a special interview on the TV18 network. On Monday, the Pathak inquiry report was tabled in Parliament. On Tuesday, at midnight, Natwar Singh was suspended from the Congress party. Today, Wednesday, Natwar Singh has agreed to break his silence and for the first time speak about the charges levelled against him by the Pathak inquiry. But first, Mr. Natwar Singh, let's talk about last night's developments at midnight. You've been suspended by the Congress party. You reacted with emotion and anger. How do you react today?
Well, I have served the Congress party for 22 years, before that 31 years in foreign service. I feel let down, I am deeply disappointed, I feel bitter, I feel hurt that the party has decided to do this to me without even listening to my point of view.
Last night on television you said of Dr. Natwar Singh that he was the only one of India's 11 prime ministers who couldn't even win a municipal election. This morning, what is your view of Dr. Natwar Singh?
Well, it gives me no pleasure to say that he's a weak prime minister. He's unable to stand for his colleagues. I have worked with him for 40 years and he knew nothing about foreign policy when I helped him in whatever way I could, right up to the 5th of April when things changed. And today, when I'm in difficulty, he does not have the courage or even the camaraderie to stand up and say something in my favor.
Now, what is your opinion this morning of Sonia Gandhi, the president of the Congress party? After all, you could not have been suspended without her approval of this action.
I know I've had the privilege of knowing the Gandhi family, Nehru Gandhi family, since I was 13 or 14 years old. Due to my reverence for Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru, due to my reverence for Srimati Indira Gandhi's memory, due to my reverence for the memory of Sri Rajiv Gandhi, I will not say a single word about Srimati Sonia Gandhi.
In other words, you're making it clear that the only reason you're holding your silence on Sonia Gandhi is because of the respect you have for her husband, her mother-in-law, and her grandfather-in-law.
No, it is not. I will not say a single word against Srimati Sonia Gandhi.
What about Mr. Pranab Mukherjee, who pronounced the verdict on you? What do you feel about him this morning?
I don't think it really matters what he says. His own record speaks for itself.
All right. Let's now come to the Pathak report and let's try and talk to you about your defense against the charges that have been leveled against you. The Pathak report claims that you are a beneficiary. The Pathak report says that your letter of the 30th of January 2001 to the Iraqi oil minister demonstrates that Sri Natwar Singh utilized his presence in Iraq to lend his assistance in the procurement of oil allocation to Sri Andalip Sehgal. Isn't this proof that you were recommending Andalip Sehgal for an oil deal, and when that deal materialized, you became a beneficiary?
Well, the Pathak report exonerated me and my son from deriving any financial benefit.
But it accused you of doing everything in your power and capacity to secure an oil deal for Andalip Sehgal, and it says categorically that when those oil deals came through, you became a beneficiary.
You see, Mr. Walker's report, I don't think has been studied by anybody. Mr. Walker has himself said that he changed the report to Sur Kofi Annan.
But come back to
Now, I'll come back to this point. Now, if I had that kind of influence which is implied in the report, because this report is a farce. It does not even mention my affidavit, does not mention the affidavit of my son or Sehgal, or does not even attach the statement that we made before Pathak saying that I've done nothing wrong. Suppose, first of all...
Can I interrupt? No, I'm interrupting for a very simple reason.
Yeah.
The report says that you used your influence to procure oil deals for Andalip Sehgal, and when those oil deals came through, you were a beneficiary. And this is proven by your letter of the 30th of January 2001 to the Iraqi oil minister. What is your response to that specific charge?
First of all, anybody can do today cut and paste job. The signatures are mine, with regards is mine. But where in this letter have I said that give him an oil contract?
Let me quote you.
Where have I said?
Let me quote you. You make two claims in your letter of the 30th of January. Firstly, you say that 8 days earlier, on the 22nd of January, you took Andalip Sehgal to meet the Iraqi oil minister, Amir Rashid. Secondly, you go on to say of Andalip Sehgal that he enjoys my full support and confidence, and I would appreciate your giving your full assistance and cooperation to him. I put it to you that this is a carefully coded request for oil.
But where is the oil mentioned? And if you look at...
You're not going to mention it in so many words.
No, he has asked for wheat. I have not mentioned oil. I have not mentioned contract. I have not mentioned voucher.
You certainly haven't mentioned oil, contract and voucher in so many words, but then no one actually writes a letter where in ink you say, please give my man oil. That would be ridiculous. What you do say instead is that Andalip is well known to me for many years, and then ominously you add, so is the company he owns. That is a clear indication that anything given to Andalip would be construed as a favor to Natwar Singh. It is a request via Andalip for a benefit for yourself.
You see, this is where doubts arise about the authenticity of this letter, because I had never heard of Hamdan before. Number two, if I was really interested in making money, I would have written a letter in which I have said, I am sending you my son, will you please help him and give him any assistance that you like? I did not do so.
So you're making 2 points. You're saying, first of all, if you had the influence that Pathak claims you had, you would use it for your son, not for your son's cousin.
That's right.
And the fact that you haven't used it for your son suggests that you don't have that influence. Is that the first point you're making?
No, secondly, no.
But is that the first point you're making?
I'm making this point.
Okay, and the second point you're making is that in fact this letter, the letter of the 30th, which Pathak says, and I quote, is one of the most crucial pieces of evidence in this proceeding. You're saying the letter is fraudulent, you're saying it's forged.
I am saying that the signatures are mine, the language is not mine, can be cut and paste job.
But let me point out to you that Siddharth Dave, the counsel of the Pathak authority, certified this letter as authentic. So how can you say it's not authentic?
No, who is he to certify it authentic? Where is the original of this letter?
You mean you doubt his credentials to certify authenticity?
I certainly do. The advocates selected, they have been selected purposely by two individuals.
Who are the two individuals?
There are two ministers, I don't want to name them.
Two ministers in the Rao government, in the present government?
In the present government, yes.
So in other words, two ministers in the present government have deliberately selected counsel who are prejudiced to you, and those counsel have authenticated letters that are forgeries.
That's right. And
can I interrupt?
Yeah.
You're suggesting, aren't you, that the two ministers are Kapil Sibal and Chidambaram?
I will not say yes or no, you come to your own conclusion.
All right, but you're suggesting there's a conspiracy perpetrated by two ministers to select counsel who will deliberately certify forgeries as authentic.
Yes, because...
But is that yes or no?
Yes.
Let me interrupt again. These letters were on letterhead, AICC letterhead, that gives your designation as chairman of the Foreign Affairs Department, as a member of the working committee. The AICC address is there, the AICC phone number is there, the AICC fax number is there. How can you deny the letters as authentic?
Listen, you can get a letterhead from anywhere. You can see the certain spellings in that heading. They are not original letters. I was not a minister, I was not an MLA, I was not an MP, I had no influence.
You have confirmed that the signature on the letters is yours. You also confirmed that the handwriting with which the words "with regards" is written is yours.
It's mine, but I've said so they're mine. But I've said the language is not mine. I don't write these kind of letters.
So how did the signature get there?
A cut and paste job. Anybody can take anything from anywhere.
Were you shown originals of these letters?
No originals were shown to me.
What were you shown?
As far as I remember, originals were not shown to me.
So what were you shown?
I was shown some letter which I said, the signatures are mine, but the language is not mine. And then I said...
Were these letters photocopies when you were shown them?
This is my impression, I may be wrong. What I also said, suppose I had written these letters. I write many letters. All politicians write many letters. Mr. Bush comes here, wants to sell Boeing. Mr. Chirac comes, wants to sell Airbus. Mr. Blair wants to sell his tanks.
I take your point. You're making, therefore, 2 points in your defense. Firstly, you're saying that the letters that allegedly incriminate you are forgeries. They are cut and paste jobs. You were shown photocopies. You don't believe they are proper authenticated letters. Secondly, you're saying even if for argument's sake these letters are deemed to be original and authentic, the language is not yours. Thirdly, you're saying that these letters do not in any way ask for oil, and that the interpretation on the language is a construction of Justice Pathak.
Yes.
You agree with all of that?
Yes, I agree with this.
In which case, who wrote the letters? Who concocted them?
I have no idea. I think we should try and find out.
No, I put it to you that the only person who could have written the letters, if you claim you didn't, is Andalip Sehgal, because he benefited from them, he needed an introduction, and they led to oil contracts. So clearly, if you didn't write them, Andalip Sehgal must have written them.
I have told you, signatures are mine, with regards is mine, language is not mine, voucher, oil, contract are not mentioned by me.
Did these letters then get concocted by Andalip because he's the only beneficiary?
No. They could be by him or anybody else.
They could be by him. You concede they could be by him.
They could be by him. They could be by anybody else. Now listen.
Can I interrupt? Can I interrupt?
No,
Can I interrupt?
Yeah.
The Pathak Commission also has two other letters written by you, published in full in the Pathak report. These are dated the 26th of April 2001 and the 11th of August 2001. In the letter of April 2001, you even allegedly introduce your son Jagat to the Iraqi oil minister. Are you saying that these two letters, like the earlier letter of January, are forged and fraudulent?
They could be. Signatures are
They could be.
They could be, but my signatures
You were very
are mine.
certain about the January letter, you're not so certain about these two.
No, I may have written these letters. What's wrong with writing a letter?
But make up your mind, Mr. Natwar Singh. You may have written them, or are they forgeries and fraudulent?
This is like I asked Mr. Pathak that you give a letter to my son for him to get admitted
But
to
you see, you suddenly
he said he doesn't remember.
But you see what you've done. Under questioning, you suddenly switched your position.
No,
You
I'm
began
not.
by saying these letters are fraudulent. You began by doubting their authenticity. You began by questioning Siddharth Dave's capacity to authenticate them. Now, of the other two letters, you're saying I may have written them.
Yes, okay, suppose I wrote those letters. Take your argument. I wrote those letters for introduction for my son. Anything wrong with it?
Well, I'll tell you why. There's something wrong with it. Because in particular, there are two out of your three letters, the letter of January 2001 and the letter of August 2001. Between the sending of the letter and the allocation of the oil deal, there is a very short, limited time span. Surely that indicates, A, that the letters are genuine, and B, that they were requests for oil. Therefore, this proves that your claim that the letters are false or you didn't write them is actually a mistaken claim.
No, it's not mistaken. First of all, where is the word oil mentioned?
You don't need to mention oil, I keep telling you that.
No, why not? It is. And if I had wanted to recommend my son, I would have sent a letter to Tariq Aziz, whom I know, that please, my son is a young man, will you help him? Not only this, if I was wanted to think for myself, why should I go to the oil minister whom I met once? I would have gone to somebody else. I am unemployed.
But the point is that the Iraqi authorities are absolutely convinced, as the Pathak report points out, that each time they gave oil to Andalib Sehgal, each time they gave him contracts totaling 2 million barrels, they actually believed they were obliging you. Let me quote the Pathak report. The allocation of 2 million barrels of oil was made to Andalib Sehgal solely because the Iraqi government wanted to oblige Shri Natwar Singh.
No, why should they want to oblige me?
Because you're an important functionary in the Congress party,
No,
because you head the foreign policy cell, because you're close to Sonia Gandhi, and additionally, it is widely believed that if Congress ever returned to power, you would be foreign minister. Those are 4 good reasons to oblige you. They have no reason to oblige Andalib Sehgal, except for the fact he's your son's cousin, introduced by you.
Let me think. Now, somebody of my experience would write letters, would in any way incriminate me? Would I not say this verbally to them? Why should
Except
I
you didn't think you were incriminating yourself. You thought you'd worded yourself so judiciously that no one would realize. The problem is, when the letters appeared, and then when all the correlation between the contracts appeared, it was suddenly understood that your clever language was code for asking for oil.
No, I don't agree with that at all. Not at all code.
You don't agree at all?
At all.
This is a false interpretation.
The interpretation given is totally false. If I had to ask for help, particularly, you know what did...
Okay, then let me interrupt you one more time. How do you then account for the fact that when the first oil contract materialized in February 2001, I'm referring to oil contract number M/9/54, the State Oil Marketing Organization in Iraq told the Iraqi oil minister that it was, and I'm quoting, for Natwar Singh, member of the Indian Congress Party. There it is, in writing from SOMO to the Iraqi oil minister.
There's one more in which it says that the one is for the Congress Party.
And I'll give you the explanation that Justice Pathak has for that. But first, come to this. How do you account for the fact that M/9/54 is for Natwar Singh?
I don't know how it got there.
You don't know?
I absolutely don't know.
So then it's possible that it was for you, or at least the Iraqis thought it was for you.
They may have. I have nowhere said that please give anybody a contract.
They may have. So do you concede that anything the Iraqis did for Andalib could have been done because they thought it was for you?
They could have, but there is no proof of it whatsoever, because I have nowhere said voucher, contract, oil, anything.
All right.
If you were going to Iraq, I would give you a similar letter.
All right. Let's now come back to something that you told me yesterday. You haven't brought it up as yet, but I want to bring it up because you believe, and your son Jagat Singh believes, that this is germane to the entire case against you. You believe that Andalib Sehgal did not go to Iraq looking for oil, that in fact he went to Iraq looking to deal in food and other products.
That's right.
How do you know this?
This is what he told the Partha committee. This is what he says.
How did he tell the Partha committee this?
Beg pardon?
Is there an affidavit?
Yes, he has an affidavit. See his affidavit.
You're saying that Andalip's affidavit specifically states that Andalip went to do a deal in food or other products, not oil.
Yes, you can ask him that. You can ask for affidavit and then you will get the thing. Please have an interview with him and ask him.
In paragraph 2.8 of Andalip Sehgal's affidavit, it says that when he met the State Oil Marketing Organization in Iraq, the gentleman who met him, and I'm quoting, suggested that if I could arrange sale of oil, then I would qualify for supplying food and other products as a quid pro quo. And the affidavit continues in the same paragraph to say, the only possibility for me to supply foodstuff would be if I could arrange for a United Nations registered oil company to lift crude oil. Do you, Natwar Singh, believe what Andalip Sehgal is saying in that affidavit?
Well, if he has given the affidavit, it must be true. Because if you lie in the affidavit, you are in serious
I'll tell you
trouble.
why I ask you that question. Because that affidavit is not part of the Pathak report. It's not even, as far as I can tell, in any way referred to or alluded to by name in the Pathak report. So clearly, Justice Pathak hasn't taken this affidavit seriously.
No, this is what is surprising me. My affidavit is not mentioned anywhere. What I told Pathak is not mentioned anywhere. My statement to him not mentioned anywhere. My son's affidavit not mentioned. My son's statement not mentioned.
You're saying these are not mentioned because had they been mentioned, then Mr. Pathak wouldn't be able to claim A, that Andalip was looking for an oil deal, and B, that you with your interventions had helped him secure it. Is that what you're saying?
Exactly that's what I'm saying. I fully agree with you, and this is a deliberate attempt by the Pathak authority to keep our affidavits away from the report, keep our statements away, mine, my son's, the Andalip Sehgal.
You're saying that Justice Pathak has deliberately overlooked and ignored Andalip Sehgal's affidavit because it contradicts the claim that Justice Pathak wanted to make, that Andalip went looking for oil and you helped him.
No, I say that why has he not put in his affidavit? Why is he shied away
So
from
the
it?
absence of the affidavit from the Pathak report, you're saying, is critical. It affects the truth as it's being told.
Not only his, the affidavit I gave, affidavit my son gave, the statement I made. This is a totally politically biased report by a gentleman who was hanging around me to get into the world court.
The gentleman being Justice Pathak?
Justice Pathak,
He
yes.
hung around you when to get into the world court?
It is about in the late 80s.
When you were Rajiv Gandhi's minister?
Minister of State for External
So
Affairs.
you're saying that Justice Pathak came, as you put it, hung around you to seek your help to get into the
That's right.
International Court of Justice at The Hague.
That's right.
You could be libelous when you be saying this.
No, I am not libelous. He himself has come and thanked me any number of times. And I did no crime, no mistake.
So you're
It's
saying that
legitimate
far
thing.
from showing gratitude, he's kicked you in the teeth.
Well, I was really very, very distressed and very disappointed because whenever I met him last about 6 months ago, Natwar Singh, we'll come and call on you, we are very grateful to you, very nice.
You've also claimed that the Pathak report has used differential standards of treatment for yourself and for Congress. You've alleged that the sort of evidence that has incriminated you allegedly has been used to, in fact, exonerate Congress. What are your grounds for saying this?
No, I'm saying this, what happened to the contract which is in the name of the Congress party? What conclusions have they arrived? If they are giving me a clean chit and the Congress clean chit, the matter closes.
Are you saying that why is Justice Pathak treated that differently,
Yeah.
and why is he treated the contracts regarding you differently?
That's right.
What Justice Pathak says, and I want to now clarify this on his behalf, is that the Iraqis mistakenly attributed that contract to the Congress party. Let me quote, apparently it, meaning Congress, has been shown as a non-contractual beneficiary because of the impression created in the minds of the Iraqi authorities by the conduct of Shri Natwar Singh and Shri Jagat Singh. He's saying that you were presenting yourselves as Congress representatives. The Iraqis got confused. They wrongly attributed M/10/57 to Congress. In fact, just like all the others, these were contracts for Natwar Singh and being given to Andalip Sehgal on behalf of Natwar Singh and to oblige Natwar Singh. That's his explanation.
This is what I'm asking. Why doesn't he put my affidavit and that of my son and the statement we made? We clarified all this and I kept sending Mr. Pathak, is there any evidence that I have asked for a contract for myself. Have I got any voucher in my name? Have I signed
So you're
any
saying
receipt?
that you're saying that where there was proof that would incriminate Congress, Justice Pathak has bent backwards to exonerate it. Where there was doubt, he's actually failed to give you, Natwar Singh, the benefit of the doubt.
No, I'm talking about
No,
myself.
but you confirm that. Different standards.
There is.
All right, let's move on. Yesterday you said to me that there was a meeting in the first week of February held at the residence of Shobana Bhartiya, the executive vice chairman of the Hindustan Times, where you met Mr. Chidambaram, the finance minister, and also present was Mr. Ahmed Patel. You say that at that meeting, Mr. Chidambaram gave you false assurances and misled you. What happened? Very quickly.
He said that they were closing the investigation within 2 weeks. Could I please go to the enforcement directorate and the matter will be over and nobody will know. When I arrived there, the whole press is there, and it is now 6 months and investigation continues.
So you're saying that he lied to you that the matter was ending in 2 weeks, is that right?
I have written this particular fact to the Prime Minister and to the Congress President about this meeting.
You've written to both the Prime Minister and the Congress President to say that at this meeting in February, Mr. Chidambaram misled you and gave you false assurances.
This is what he said, yes.
What did they say in reply?
The Prime Minister said, I will speak to the Finance Minister.
And did he?
I'm sure he did.
But did he tell you what the Finance Minister had said in reply?
No, he said that he was very distressed to learn this, because I said everything that we said there is leaked by the Enforcement Directorate against us all the time.
Let me ask you for your final verdict on the Pathak report, which finds you, Natwar Singh, guilty of misusing your office. What's your verdict on that report?
No, Mr. Pathak has exonerated me and my son.
But he's found you guilty of misusing your office.
This is totally wrong, and I have done nothing of which I should be ashamed. On the contrary, I have faced this with courage and forthrightness. My conscience is clear, and you can see...
If your conscience is clear, will you go to court?
If legally I can do so, I will.
If legally you can do so, you will take Justice Pathak to court.
Then the whole authority, if it is legally permissible, I don't think it is.
Will you also consider taking any legal action against individual members of the government?
I will ask my lawyer and then proceed. I just want
Will you also consider taking legal action, if you can, against the Prime Minister?
I will consult my lawyers.
So you're saying to me today that depending upon what your lawyers say, you could end up taking Justice Pathak to court, ministers of the government to court, and the Prime Minister to court?
Yes, if legally I am permitted to do so, I will certainly take the advice and go by the advice. Finally, I want to conclude. This, Mr. Mathrani says here, that Natwar and the Congress never knew about the deals is hogwash. Mr. Mathrani has been exonerated.
And this is another example of unfair treatment and double standards.
Double standards, unfair, our affidavits being not made public, our statements not public. The report has no value.
In which case, Mr. Natwar Singh, we've come right to the end. Your final word is that if you can, you will take Pathak to court, you will take the ministers to court, and if possible, you will take the Prime Minister to court.
I will consult my lawyers and I will go by their advice. Otherwise, I have other means. I can speak in Parliament, I can have a press conference.
When you speak in Parliament tomorrow, Thursday, will you stand by everything you said to me?
Well, it depends.
Will you speak in the same tough terms as you've spoken today?
Listen to me. I will naturally. I'm going to say that the report has no consequence. The report has no value. And finally, Pathak himself has said that neither I nor my son derived any financial
Yes, but I must
benefit.
add that Pathak has also said that you are guilty of misusing your office.
This is completely wrong.
Okay.
Because I held no office at the time of any consequence. And if I had to ask for favor, I would have asked for my son and for myself.
The main point you want to make is that you're innocent.
I'm innocent.
Mr. Natwar Singh, thank you very much for speaking in this special interview.
Thank you.